So we will be looking at a Reddit thread called Am I the Asshole? And it's going to be related to quiet quitting. So everybody get ready to listen to the situation. I'm also really curious to see how each of us reacts to this situation. It is going to be a Reddit thread shared online about someone's own experience with quiet quitting. And at the end, we will dissect if this person is the asshole or not. And so all of our perspectives that we just shared, I think is going to be challenged with this situation. So I'm curious to see, curious to know, I'm curious to hear what all of our perspectives are going to be on this. So I will be reading the thread, and then afterwards we will dissect if this person is the asshole for quiet quitting at work. So here's the situation. I, female, 30 years old, I am a registered nurse associate on a busy ward with acutely unwell patients that are admitted straight from A&E. A&E means accident and emergency. So let's just say like they come from the emergency ward. When I first qualified about 6 months ago, I would do my job and I do it well. I have always been a team player, and if I do say so myself, a bit of a pushover, doing things that were asked of me that weren't necessarily my responsibility. Every shift, when I'd finished my own tasks, I would often help in other teams that were busier than mine. I know how stressful and overwhelming it can be when you've got seriously poorly patients. About 2 months ago, I was working a day shift with another RNA and a ward sister. My team was so busy that I barely made it through the day without a breakdown. I had 3 admissions within the space of an hour. While I was running around, struggling, the other RNA sat at her meds trolley on the computer the whole day. I'm not even exaggerating. She was sat there all day. She had no patient movement at all in her team and had no poorly patients. She didn't offer me any help. On another occasion, I had a patient admitted, riddled with pressure ulcers to the point where I didn't know what I was looking at and how to document them. I went to ask the 2 senior RNs sat at the nurses' station for their help, and they both fully ignored me. By the way, RN means registered nurse. When I asked again, they said that they were busy. There are 2 of the nurses that normally take charge of the ward, who often go without breaks. I normally take it upon myself to do their admission paperwork for new patients so they can go on a break. Anyway, to cut the long story short, I feel like I'm always helping others but not getting the same in return. There are just 2 of the many things that have made me want to quiet quit, or some points just plain quit. Yeah, that's the end of the post. But basically, after going through the situation, would we describe this person as the asshole for quiet quitting at work or not? Especially since everything that she described in her situation, where she feels like she's a team player, she always feels like she's helping others out all the time, but she's not getting the same help in return. So I'm actually curious with Ben's thoughts on this. Maybe you can go first.
I think maybe both of you can, maybe like Kayla or can share, a view first.
I can go first on this one. I just read like some replies in the thread, and yeah, it's just always so interesting reading stuff on Reddit. You see people with their own opinions. But I guess just to add to the replies in the thread, I guess this is a very tricky one because it's a very different environment. You know, they're nurses, and you do understand that they're overworked and they do so much work and they're tired mentally and physically and maybe emotionally as well. So it's a taxing environment. But I guess when you're in that kind of environment where you're just doing a lot of work, not just tending to patients, but she also said, doing some paperwork, admin stuff. So yeah, I guess the for me, the nice thing to do would be to lend a helping hand when you see someone in your team struggling. I guess it's just some empathy. And when you feel like you still have enough energy to help someone out, then that's fine. I can speak for the people who ignored her because maybe they're like equally tired. Maybe she just didn't see what they were going through the rest of the day. But yeah, I think for me, there is like a responsibility for you to help someone out in your team when you see that they're struggling. There's so many things on their plate all at once, but at the same time, in this kind of environment where everyone's just busy, I don't think you can also like just expect everyone constantly to help you out, because again, you don't know like the amount of work that they also did the whole day. So maybe these people have their reasons. I don't know. It's still like very unclear for me if she's the asshole, if the people that ignored her were the asshole. So yeah, it's still like in the middle for me. Still so so.
Yeah. I guess I can go next. I guess just basing off of the post, my immediate thoughts were she's not the asshole, just because from the way that she described the situation is she always will try to help other people out even if she's tired or fully engaged, whereas she doesn't receive the same feedback in return. But I do agree with Kayla that it is a tricky situation just because they work in the medical field, and if you quiet quit in the medical field, like someone might die. I don't know, like if the situation is very dire and then you just choose to be, I don't feel like it today, like maybe somebody is like struggling and then based on your mood you're like, I don't really want to like work today. So it is like a tricky situation to kind of navigate, but my opinion is, I guess outside of this one person, I'm imagining that the medical field or working in a ward, working at the hospital, it requires a lot of teamwork. And so I think it might be a teamwork issue of other people just kind of putting themselves first of, I'm tired, so I don't want to work. Whereas other people, like this person in the post, this person in this situation is, even if she's tired, she still helps people out and not having that same feedback. So I understand that working in the hospital, working in the medical field is a high stress environment. And it's, I guess, a matter of, for me, I think it's a matter of teamwork, or it might be an issue within the team of knowing to help each other out, even if everybody is stressed. At the end of the day, their goal is to treat the people who are at the hospital. Like that's the end goal, right? So I guess just kind of working on the team dynamics they have of reaching that goal. Yeah, I guess that's the thoughts that I have on my mind. But to go back to the question, I don't think she's the asshole, but I think they might have like a teamwork issue to meet the
Yeah. And yeah, thanks both of you. You always give very fresh insights to things. And my boring perspective to this is, first of all, I just want to say that this person is going through a lot of things, right? It's definitely not easy having to fulfill the need or the expectation of attending to the patients and then feeling that lack of support. I don't know how many of you listeners out there are experiencing this, and if you, it's not easy, right? Having you to be in that situation and in that experience. And back to the question of whether this nurse is the asshole for quiet quitting at work. I think if you go back to what I mentioned earlier of the three dimensions, right, of disengagement, of emotional exhaustion, personal achievement, and depersonalization, I think there's certainly very strong indications of emotional exhaustion, right? I think there's the feeling of drain and feeling tired. I guess this could be even compounded and made worse by the lack of appreciation and the lack of support. So I think that emotional exhaustion is something that's very clear for me. Personal achievement, I'm not so sure. It didn't really come out very clearly whether she's still that sense of fulfillment, whether there was proper recognition to the work that she is doing, because recognition in a nursing environment doesn't just come from badges and money. It can come from the look of gratitude, right? Of appreciation from the patients or from the families of the patients. So I'm not sure about personal achievement. But the third part, which is depersonalization, which means that they are detached, right? And they get a little bit numb. I think it seems like she is kind of moving into that stage where there's that depersonalization and that kind of detachment, but I don't think she's there yet. So I think that right now, when she's thinking about whether she's the asshole and whether, if she don't want to help anyone, right, anymore. And if I can just be very clear, at least from my point of view, the what she's saying is she will not be helping the team members, right? I hope she's not saying that she won't be helping the patients, because if she stopped helping patients, then that is going to be a terrible thing. I hope that if I were to require care, my nurse that's caring for me will not be in that situation. So I think if it is for her colleagues, and she's thinking about it, well, like I'm with Kayla, like 50-50, right? And of course, she hasn't acted on it yet, right? She hasn't acted on it yet. And so that is my view. I think it's 50-50 of whether she's the asshole, as long as she continues to provide the care to the patients, and to ensure that there's the safety and the care of the patients are attended to. That's, I guess, the primary responsibility. While the other two, registered nurses that are not being helpful, very clear the depersonalization has happened for them, right? That they are detached, because one of the things of depersonalization is the lack of empathy, being very cynical and negative and indifferent about their work. So they are definitely showing signs of that. And so I would see that they would be, possibly without knowing the story of why they do that, right? They, based on this surface level, are demonstrating signs of quiet quitting more than this person that has shared. Yeah. So that's my take on it, right? Yeah.
The asshole.
We got the wrong asshole as the other two.